Did that not fill you with confidence?
Prefer to be filled with other things.
You searched everywhere.
That's how well they were hidden.
Except
And
there.
it turned out to be in the only cave in the town. 4 women, 4 murders. A 30-year cold case. Sloane Grayson is an investigative reporter returned to her hometown to solve the mystery of her traumatic childhood. 3 decades ago, Sloane's mother was one of 4 women to vanish into thin air at a music festival. An arrest was made, but no confession was extracted, and no bodies were ever found. With the sheriff who made the original arrest long since dead, Sloane means to reopen his case to see that a guilty man faces justice. Or maybe, just maybe, an innocent one is spared a lifetime in prison.
Do you know what? It didn't feel like any of her motivation was to get this guy out. Whoever was none of that. It was all about keeping him inside.
100%.
Pause this video right now. Go and read What She Saw by
Mary Burton. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library.
But yeah,
I'm being very generous for motivation. 100%.
Lock him up. Is 30 years not enough?
31 years.
Is 31 years not enough?
Clearly not.
She wants him to rot. So what do you think of the book? What did I think? I hear you ask. Boring!
Preemptively.
No, I thought it was boring. I think it dragged on. It's the same sort of murder mystery, sort of serial killer on a loose sort of thing.
I really didn't find myself bored. Not because the story wasn't boring, because it was. But the reason why I didn't find myself bored is because I expected it. As soon as I saw murder mystery, I said, I know exactly what this is going to be. The same bloody story. They're going to tell us who killed the thing at the beginning. Go back in time. Like, just everything.
I know.
Saw it all coming a mile away.
I know. You said you have more, so you should go first.
Excellent. Murder mystery, check. Intrepid investigative protagonist, check. This book has all the elements I would expect to see so far, but author Mary Burton has her work cut out for her. Murder mysteries such as these are a literary graveyard, in my opinion, because of the way the story is set up. It's almost impossible to surprise the reader, which means that the author must rely on good writing only to make a positive impact. Take our killer, Colton, for example. The author can only go in 2 directions with him. Either he's innocent and he was totally framed, or, and much more plausibly, he's guilty but didn't act alone. Now, how do I know this? I'm not a genius. We've seen it before. I suspect this book will give us the secret unknown accomplice from 30 years ago trope. I really don't mind a book lacking surprises and totally original twists. I don't mind it not having those, as long as what it does have is executed well. In fact, humans will generally enjoy anything with good execution, regardless of how predictable or transparent it might appear to be. I saw a meme one time, and it was actually, I was meant to send it to you because it was taking a piss out of Formula One fans, but it said Formula One, there was the picture was this guy who was like super excited, and then it said Formula One fans with the richest guy, when the richest guy with the fastest car wins all the races. And I was just like, football's kind of the same though. You know, you're a Real Madrid fan, you go every day to see if your team's going to win. Did they win? Of course you did, the same as you do every year.
I like what you said about you don't mind a lack of originality. You don't mind knowing where the story's going.
100%.
But I just want to enjoy it.
But I want to get there, though.
Entertain me.
Absolutely.
But having said all that, would you actually advise? Let's say someone came to you. I'm a new and up and coming author. Do you recommend I write a murder mystery?
Well, I'd say, do you have an idea already? Because if you don't, then no. If you've got a good idea and it's a killer idea, and not necessarily killer in terms of original, but killer in terms of, I want to get to the end? When I read this, do I want to get through it? Then go for it. Absolutely.
Reading shouldn't feel like a chore.
It shouldn't feel like I'm struggling through it. Yeah, absolutely.
Entertain me.
It should feel like I want to read it in one sitting.
Exactly.
That's how I want to feel.
Exactly that, yes. Oh why are these murder mystery detective stories all cold cases? Was Sheriff C.J. Taggart insufficient as a main character? Is it not preferable for us, the readers, to enjoy a chase by a detective who is hot on the heels of a murderer rather than rehashing a 30-year-old story? I suppose there's no point complaining about what the book actually is. What it should be. I should review it for what it is. So, for a book with so many characters and so much interviewing, it's actually very easy to understand, and I wasn't confused at all. I like the way Sheriff Taggart POV would explain who and where the people were at the time of the crime, and then we'd get to the interviews years later in the Sloane POV. I thought that it was done well. Did the dual time skip POV gangbang convo make this book gripping and exciting, unputdownable? Did this book penetrate my soul? Did it fuck my brains out? No, and no. It was actually very, very boring. Is that to be expected from a 30-year-old cold case? I mean, it's hardly going to be exciting, is it? And if the answer is yes, does that mean that I cannot mark the author down for producing a boring book?
No, you can absolutely mark it out for choosing a boring book. Who's to blame for that then? It's not the author.
The genre.
Huh?
The genre.
Well, murder mystery is not a notoriously boring genre.
Isn't it? It's not notoriously exciting, and you normally get a release at the end. After doing all the work.
There's a payoff.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be exciting, is it?
But like Death in Paradise is gripping.
Yeah, exactly. Entertaining.
It's supposed to be anyway. Yeah. If it's not, then you got a problem. Dual timeline. I should have known. Every week, I promise not to keep complaining about this trope, but each time it rears its ugly head, I'm forced to admit that I'm full of shit. I will never stop complaining about this. It's so clunky and obtrusive, and it really begs the question that if we're going to go back and forth between crime and 30 years after the crime, why don't we just have the story in the first part? Who cares about 30 years after it? Imagine a James Bond movie set 30 years after James Bond dies. Who's watching that?
It just doesn't. It just
doesn't make any sense.
Just doesn't make any sense. But this is what I was trying to say before. We could just remove Sloane completely. We just didn't need that at all.
Bewildering creative decision. I don't get it.
You're layering up a story. Do you know what? If you're gonna do it. Make each of it exciting, or make each of it interesting. Don't have two boring stories.
And
layered on top of each other like a sandwich or something.
Exactly, shit sandwich. You don't want any of it. We've seen that far too many times as well. Would literally be like if there was a story about terrorists that took over a house, but the story is set in the house across the street from where the terrorists are, and it's just about you looking and seeing them go past the windows. Like, why are we not in that house? Why don't we just go there? It's where all the good stuff is happening.
Exactly. Jesus.
You've written an extra story and like taken us out of the good one so that we can have an extra story that we totally do not need.
Or it'd be like writing a story about Sloane who's writing a story about...
Yeah.
Like,
but you joke, but it's like, we're reading that one next. That one's coming. Or
we already read it.
Yeah,
we read that one last week. Our main character, Sloane, is meant to be this badass lone wolf. No friends, no family. Completely married to her work. She's a private detective who works solo. A vigilante who doesn't play by the rules. She'll stalk people illegally, break into properties, and justify it because she thinks she's serving justice. 100%. From a young age, her moral compass was clearly skewed. She brags about being excluded from school for body checking other kids or throwing rocks at bullies because, in her mind, they deserved it. It feels like the author wanted to give her some backstory and some grit, but it just made her come across as emotionally stunted rather than complex.
Bit of a loose cannon.
The issue is, Sloane ends up feeling two-dimensional. She's proud of being cold and detached, often saying she doesn't feel anything, and even mimicking other people's emotions just to blend in. But that makes it almost impossible for the reader to connect with her. It's also contradictory. You can't, after 30 years, decide to hunt down your mother's remains so her killer stays in prison and then claim you don't feel emotions. You can't have it both ways, and that inconsistency makes her character ring hollow. I also genuinely didn't understand why the romantic subplot between Sloane and Grant was included. Was that an admission of guilt by the author that the story was painfully dry and desperately needed some artificial spice? Because that's exactly how it felt. Forced, unnecessary, and completely out of sync of the character we've been told she was. Yeah. Cold, but all of a sudden igniting a relationship? That confused me. Yeah. And honestly, the author missed a real opportunity here. Instead of shoehorning in a romance subplot, she could have leaned into the consequences of Sloane constantly operating outside of the law. Imagine if her vigilante approach backfired and she gets caught breaking and entering or tampering with evidence or crossing the federal line. She's getting arrested or suspended right as she's getting close to the truth would have added genuine tension and stakes, something this story was lacking.
Desperately.
So,
needed.
Do you think it was an admission of guilt that the story was boring or dragging or something by her adding in the romance there? The romance that wasn't quite a romance. The fuck buddies.
Yeah. Straight away.
Fuck buddy always makes everything better, though, doesn't it?
Makes everything better. There was a lot of bells in my head because I was thinking, is she potentially trying to set up the big bad guy at the end? Because that's like, whenever there's like, obviously in murder mysteries you have your main character, and then there's either one or two supporting characters, and a very common trope is one of them or both of them are the bad guys, obviously following the good guy around, trying to sabotage investigation, etc.
I also thought Grant would have been behind it.
Yeah, so, well, it crossed my mind, but that's a great point as well. Like, she's thinking maybe it needs like a little bit of a change of pace in terms of not just the investigation, there's other stuff going on. But like you said, it really doesn't make sense with her character. And even she was saying a bunch of times, oh, you're going to want to change me, etc., all that funny stuff.
And then the pregnancy scare as well. Is,
100%. I never agree with the whole dual timelines thing, but it can definitely be done well. This is not it. I'm struggling to engage in the flashbacks that concern the late Sheriff C.J. Taggart, the same man who will one day take his own life out of guilt for his inability to find the bodies. I have my issues with that also. Taggart investigates the chaotic festival and his suspicion of Colton is ever growing. This might be somewhat interesting if we didn't already know that Colton spent 30 years in prison in the future. If the identity of the killer was kept a secret from the beginning, if he wasn't literally the first character that we met, then we, the reader, now need to push through so that we can discover their identity in the previous timeline. Not only that, but in the present timeline, we have Sloane re-examining evidence, re-interviewing witnesses, and essentially going over the same stuff as Sheriff Taggart.
Exactly.
It's like the same story twice.
Exactly.
Finally, I find it hard to believe that a veteran police officer, veteran police chief, who brought a dangerous killer to justice and honoured the memory of 4 murder victims, was so overcome by guilt over not finding any bodies that he killed himself. Okay, cool, you didn't find the bodies, but I think bringing the killer to justice and bringing peace and closure to 4 families is probably enough. You'd probably be like, good enough.
It was revealed towards the end of the book that there was some foul play. She doesn't think that he did actually kill himself, but I don't know if
that kind of had to be in there. That kind of had to be in there, because there's no way you're going to kill yourself over. You've already done all the hard bits of the investigation. He could have done anything with the body. He could have burned him. Now what? He could have found the body.
The bodies aren't always recovered. The end of the book. The moment we've been slogging towards, where the big reveal happens and the villain finally gets exposed. Only in this case, our baddie, Bailey, decides to give a full unprompted confession, completely out of nowhere. No pressure, no clever detective work, no build-up, just, hey guys, it was me. And I would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for you.
Yep.
It was so painfully boring, and the worst part is I knew it was coming. I'm listening to the audiobook and I glance at the timestamp and there's like 10 minutes left and we're nowhere near to solving the mystery. So obviously we're about to get a rushed, desperate, shoehorned ending.
Of course.
Because what else could possibly happen in that tiny amount of time?
Last 3 pages.
Literally. And then we get the big reveal about where the bodies were hidden. Down a shaft in the local gold mine. Like, come on.
Literally.
A quadruple murder case, and nobody, not the police, not any investigator, not a single soul thought to check the giant abandoned mine that is obviously the most obvious location in the entire story. That'd be the first place you look.
Literally the first place.
It's not clever, it's not shocking, it's not satisfying, it's just lazy writing disguised as a twist.
Bearing in mind, these bodies were allegedly so well hidden that the police chief killed himself out of guilt for not finding them.
He searched everywhere.
That's how well they were hidden.
There.
And it turned out to be in the only cave in the town.
So did you, like me, close the book and think, time well spent? Does anybody?
I don't see how you could, to be honest.
It doesn't make any sense.
The payoff doesn't feel like you got what you worked for in terms of getting through the book. Like, what you received for getting through the book doesn't match the effort it took.
And then there was the side plot of one of the victims still being alive, and she managed to track her down, and it was just like, what's going on? Like,
surprise, surprise, Sloane discovers that Colton could not have acted alone. He had an accomplice, a secret partner in crime, someone that's hidden in plain sight for 31 years, someone who would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. It's funny, we write the same jokes. Did I see it coming? Yeah, fair enough. But at least now I have a reason to keep reading. I can finally see the crock of gold at the end of the rainbow. Which, you probably look at.
Payoff is better than no payoff.
It's better than no payoff.
Which is what you get from fiction books.
Like, sometimes, you're like, was that worth it? No, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I got what I came for. I got something.
100% I got something.
Oh gosh. So what would your advice be to the author then? Because I'm sure we're not going to recommend it, and I'm 1 star. Sorry.
I think
Sorry.
these kinds of books should be left to the Richard Osmans of the world, who are good with characters, good
At
with
least
dialogue.
that's actually a good point.
Because
at
those are the
least
strongest parts of the book.
have a likable fucking character.
Yeah,
How about
yeah,
that?
yeah,
How about we
absolutely. That's
start
a great
there?
way to
You
start.
there.
Great way to start.
What a likable character. Because I couldn't
100%.
tell you who I liked.
Yeah, that's a great way to. That's a great place to start.
I didn't even feel sorry for Paddy.
Yeah,
Is it was Patty?
Patty.
Yeah, I didn't even feel sorry for her. You know, just have somebody. One good character is this where we start.
And
so for that reason,
yeah,
you
the
should
main
really
character.
get 0 stars.
I think that's probably fair, to be honest. But I'd probably say. I'll probably say what? No, 1. You can't really go hard on 1. I was looking for.
There's nothing.
Nah,
You've given me nothing.
It was poor. Poor attempt. It's
So what would you say to somebody?
copy and paste of like so many different
Yeah,
murder
nothing,
mysteries that
yeah,
we've
nothing.
seen. Nothing that stands out about it. The characters weren't great. Execution wasn't great. The twist didn't really feel like anything.
So what would you say to somebody who rated it 5 stars?
I would say you're right. I agree. No, I would
Easily
probably,
pleased.
I would
That's my
ask them, I
type.
wouldn't say anything. I would ask them why and wait for their argument to unravel itself.
All right.
I heard, people were reading this in one sitting, and there's, oh my God, it was gripping, and I was at work, and I kept looking for reasons to go, and I could go on break, and I just, honestly, they're so clearly paid by the author. It must be.
Bots. That's what it is.
There
Bots.
must be.
Yeah. Do you have a quote for this one?
Well, I've got one, so it's either this one or the next one.
Well, we'll save it for the next one then if it's not there. Is it right there?
Yeah, it's
All
right
right, it's right there. Go for it.
Quote of the day. If you get tired, learn to rest, not quit. I quite like that quote. I think it's a good one.
And it's useful.
Very
That's
useful.
That's the best type of quotes.
100%.
Ones that you can actually implement. Till next time.
Till next time.